All right, guys, do me a favor. Get on the Twitters if you got it. Hit that retweet button. Hit that like button if you're feeling like it too. But we are in the lobby. You can hear those beeps. It's starting as we speak. Is this the BlizzCon semifinals rematch? You bet this is the BlizzCon semifinals rematch. It's a best of 5. It's the finals for this week's BTSL. And I couldn't be happier with the season 2, episode 1, if you will. The finals for this is so awesome. I think that, again, even if this ends up being a 3-0, I don't think it's going to be too one-sided. And I think we're going to get some awesome games out of it. So thank you very much to you guys, the fans, for tuning in. Thank you to Twitch for making this possible. And let's hop into it. Bottom left side, we got the red Protoss playing for Splice. It's Stats.
In the top right is the blue Terran. He is experts ByuN.
And let's talk about the prize pool a little bit for this too, because it is only first and second place that gets prize money for the BTSL. $75 for first place and $25 for second. But more importantly than that, players are also awarded points, which will determine who gets invited to the $400 monthly finals. I think ByuN has an auto invite, by the way, so he doesn't even need to win this, but he still comes out to play just for the money. This guy's got thousands of dollars he's won for big tournaments, and I just love that he keeps coming out to play for things.
Yeah, I really enjoy the Korean leagues. I mean, I enjoyed them before when there was the same like 7 Terrans playing, but now it's pretty diverse and a lot of good names. You know, if we ever start calling casts by the names of like episodes, like season 2 episode 1, can we go like the Friends path and say the episode with or something like that? And well, so this would be like the episode with the base trade.
Well, so I feel like that'd be hard to do, because the only way you can really identify that would be like the episode with the one where ByuN won.
No, you could just be like the episode with Yumiho's insane base trade.
Yes, but then there are some tournaments that are kind of boring and passive, and how would you identify those?
The episode with the awesome Widowmine shot, because there's always one.
There's always one. Too many Terrans around, right?
One with all the Terrans.
Yeah. I don't know. Just actually speaking of the Korean leagues for a moment, like we've been a little bit blessed. Let's be honest. How super sick and awesome has it been watching some of these guys over the last 2 months? You know, it started with Make Korea Great Again, still making Korea great. Now the BTSL. It's evolved a lot over since December, but we've been really lucky having a lot of the players play, seeing people like Innovation and ByuN. Maybe not as special as seeing Stats and Classic and others. But I really do love it. And what I've loved more than that is the fact that they've been consistent. This wasn't like a one-shot wonder where like Zest signed up to play one time. Even though Zest has been losing early rounds, like he's been coming back for others, and it's just really cool to see the consistency. And I feel blessed about it, honestly.
I'll thank you to Dr. K. Boris. Let's 21-month resub. Friday with base trade. Since we had a 3-day weekend, quote unquote. Days off in the middle of the week.
Yeah.
It really doesn't feel like a Friday to me.
It
feels like the beginning of the work week.
Well, it kind of is, though, because you got to consider we got a lot of stuff coming up even this weekend, and I guess a bit of promo goes towards tomorrow's Ting qualifiers, which will be the North American one. I did offer a challenge up on Twitter, by the way. Again, we had to kind of sift through and remove a significant amount of players who are ineligible to play, leaving us with like 5 players. If we can get more than 16 players, like an actually 16 players, not a bunch of like random bronzies signing up for like the last second, but if we can get 16 players or more, I'm willing to convert the the third wildcard group back to the second North American one. I made a tweet about it. I will stand by my word, but we'll see what signups look like. I am hoping though, honestly, I know True's going to play and he's probably going to win one of the spots, but I really want to see M. Canning take the other. The guy's just been impressing me so much. I would love for him to play in the Ting group stage.
Yeah, I might take it, but we'll see what that looks like tomorrow, I guess. As it is still not just tomorrow, but tomorrow evening.
Yeah, that's actually, we haven't done an evening cast in a very long time.
No.
That may call for some drinks. I'm just saying.
What? Oh my god, bringing it back. I wouldn't mind. I bought beer that I thought tasted good when I was in Paris, but I think I thought it tasted good because I was already a little bit drunk.
Mistakes were made, huh? All right, well, Widowmine's going to be in an interesting spot. There'll be no transferring the probes back and forth. I think the Adepts and the Mothership Core should be able to cover what's left, especially with the Zealot getting a couple of swipes in there too. But overcharge pops. Medevac's a little too close for comfort.
Oh god, yes. The Widowmine drop is trying to do the best with a very well-defended stance, and it's as long as he can get out of there, which is pretty damn close, then it's all good. So. Proximation does usually mean there's going to be pretty fast rebases for both parties, and ByuN should not be falling too far behind, but I laughed. Wonderful guys on a roll lately. The episode where we learned about clams and how they swam. I don't even remember which cast that was, but I'm so glad I learned about that phrase. I didn't know what that phrase was, but I could like infer, you know? And now I'm more educated.
Yes, we are all truly
blessed.
Yeah.
So you're talking about it, really. Blessed, really blessed.
In our own individual ways. All right, well, back at home, third command center did finish up for ByuN. So this wasn't gearing up towards any sort of all-in. He does have double upgrades coming out too, and I think when it comes to terms of macro, both of these guys are beasts, and we've seen this, I think, a little bit more through ByuN, obviously, as he's played in more of our stuff. But even in just the games today out of stats, there was no proxies out of him. There's very few indications that they were all in. There was an awkward base trade. But ultimately, he's also been playing a little bit more macro and a little bit more focus on that. So it'd be kind of cool seeing him go up. There's going to be passiveness, right? But it's going to be the toe-to-toe who's got better macro behind all of this going on.
Yeah, for sure. But it's not a game of exciting moments. It's a game of subtle movements and decision-making.
I guess a lot of people didn't realize we're doing the NA qualifiers tomorrow. Some hype in chat about NA friendly StarCraft. The downside though is like we know, like, and this has nothing to do with like the viewership being bad, but we just, when we cast now this hour, like, what is it? It's 6 a.m. on the West Coast. That means we're getting maybe a couple of Korean fans. We're definitely getting a lot of European fans and a couple of the North Americans that wake up. But when we cast things in the evening for North America, we're just getting North Americans. So everyone else is just cut out of the equation. The viewership's so bad, which means the ad revenue's bad. And I do miss doing things at North American times, but it's just not been worth it for years at this point.
Yeah. Besides the signups are really bad, like, it's not just that there's only Americans. It seems to be even less Americans watch this because they're not at work looking for something, you know, to do. They're not eating their
to kill time on the second monitor.
It's Saturday night, you know, like, they're going to be out doing stuff and maybe not watching North Americans play.
Well, thank you, Bro Thorley, for the 12-month resub. Says, heart you folks, keep on keeping on. It's a good saying, my friend, and I will. You too, brother. As the attack, though, here commences, it's going to catch ByuN a little bit off guard, so not quite ready to fight, not quite ready to stim. This was literally seconds before he was ready to go, so a very nice timing for stats.
Yeah. That's
a
little bit worrisome.
Ooh, I like this a lot. Temple Archives.
Well, that's also worrisome. Oh, that's super worrisome. Well, as long as ByuN start making Vikings, then I guess it's not so bad. It is going to be Liberators. So. But, okay, the first part that's worrisome is just that ByuN had to absolutely get the heck out of there. Like, that's a bad sign. He does feel the pressure. He knows he could be overwhelmed, and this choke is very good for those force fields.
That was a big pick off there with the Observer going down. He still has another one, of course, but that was possibly going to open the door for the Widowmines to get out of hand. Oh, that almost killed that Observer, too, with splash damage. It feels bad.
Oh, good for stats. Now, stats does not have a War Prism, so it's eventually going to run out of time to be here with more Widowmines and Liberators on the way. But as long as he can.
I'm liking the Blink Micro. He's being very precise with it. The Guardian Shield is huge, just like having those extra upgrades over his opponent, so really just doing a good job poking and trading. The Immortals, of course, can wreck the Marauders. The Marauders can wreck the Stalkers, so it's still anyone's game when it comes to the fight, but the Liberator's going to force stats to back up. Here's that War Prism now. It's a little bit damaged, but it's got the reinforcements, and stats is really laying it on thick. But without a few more Stalkers, I don't know if you can deal with the Liberators. It's just dangerous. The Widowmines are down.
No. I was going to say, if he got splashed for the Widowmines, that might be effective for stats, but it still might end up working anyway.
The Immortals are wasting shots on the SCVs. Now that those are free, though, they can start taking on the Marauders. Stats loses a lot of army, but he kills 20 SCVs for it. This trade might be worth it for him, all things considered. It is getting a little bit chaotic towards the end.
That blink on the Widowmines was definitely questionable, and the Immortals absolutely were wasting shots.
Oh, I guarantee you, he didn't even see those Widowmines. There's just no way. Comes with a warp person on the backside. You can juke out Marauder shots. Big warping's actually going to be very scary to deal with, but new Liberators arrive on the front line, and there's no anti-air. So Stats is going to have to give up the aggression. He's going to have to give up his assaults.
He is, and that's a little scary.
But
yeah, you killed 29 SCVs, but ByuN's still at almost 50, and that's a very acceptable amount.
Right, but behind this, it's not like Stats slacked off. He did get a 4th base up and running. He's going to be able to transfer some probes there shortly, and my only thing I'm a little bit sad about is we didn't see Storm start while this went on. I think he could have really run away with the game if that was the case, but
right.
there's just no there's no anti-air here really. He can't really attack. I'm not sure why he's staying here. This just feels like a good way to expose his own units.
Yeah, it's questionable.
Well, maybe it's just the distraction he wants.
It is the distraction he wants. There you go. More SCVs are going to go down. ByuN's going to be pulled back, and Stats is buying all that time to advance. Well, not his economy too much more. Definitely his tech. Oh.
Okay.
SCVs thought you were safe. You're not.
Well, 47 workers to 72 probes. It's a scary number to look at. There's that Storm charge on the way too. I mean, it should be noted for everybody to be aware of, like, charge lots and storms still don't combo well versus Widow Mines. Widow Mines are still, like, the trump card in that regard. However, oh, that rhymes too. However, the storm is going to blanket so much of the army. It's going to help reach out to the Liberators that you can't otherwise reach. Because this isn't ByuN with Liberator range. These are just regular Liberators.
Yeah, he could, now that his economy is once again stabilized. I think he definitely wanted to prioritize the +3 and more production first.
Oh, geez.
Now
Actually,
he can go for it.
You see stabilized. Well, look at the income graph, by the way. As soon as the mules died, not a chance.
Well, yeah, but I meant, like, he hasn't taken care of his mineral lanes.
That's true. The blink was a little bit worrisome because he did that before the Liberators were really in position, but there's those storms. At least 3 of them available. Feedbacks on top of the medevacs could be just as dangerous too, but Stats unfortunately can't see this. The observer was picked off. These adepts are still being annoying. But, oh, man, there's nothing to catch these with feedbacks, nothing to hit this as the medevacs come in.
Well, it might backfire, though. If ByuN tries to escape as
3
the
overcharges.
High Templars run in.
Oh, focus right down the Liberators. This could actually obliterate ByuN here. If the Liberators go down, the Storms can clean up the bio. There's no question about it. But the overcharges did not focus on those Liberators.
Definitely a mistake there. He's going to try and hold on anyway just by blinking in, and there's the Liberator change probably affecting something here and there.
Yeah, a couple of shots extra is what it's going to take to kill those Stalkers, no longer 2-shotting them down, because ByuN has no air upgrades whatsoever, and of course, even Stats has armor to boot. The Widowmine got a decent pop-off, but didn't kill a lot. Ghost Academy starts up as he's a little bit worried about these Templar going forward.
Oh, he should be. Now, ByuN does have an army advantage, and if he splits super well, he might still be able to take him on without Ghost. But again, since his economy is stable, he could afford Ghosts.
You know,
yeah.
In every game that we've seen him so far today, when Stats had vision of what was going on, he couldn't be touched. ByuN blinding him like this and Stats not replacing the observers is proving to be a problem as he gets back to the main. Now the army in the middle's a little bit split. He's got another little reinforcement hit squad there on the side, and Stats is being really stretched thin right now.
He doesn't have the observer with the army. They're they're being flown every which way to clean up Widow Mines, to see the drops incoming. At the very least, these rocks were still broken down, so he could have had another attack hitting his 4th base, but he's alright. And ByuN has come back in this game really strong. Yeah. He can lift his main command center now and take the gold base, which wouldn't be so bad, although he does not broken on his rocks yet. That might deter him from taking the gold. He has Ghost on the way.
There's an aspect of this too. Liberator range may be out of the question, but Liberator damage is going to be huge with those upgrades coming in. Talk about that more in a moment, though, as the army does retreat from the Blink Stalkers. There's still a lot of Templar available with Storms. Widowmine's marching on the front line. There's observers that can see this, but of course those could easily be picked off with a scan. Actually, the Widowmines draw a line in the sand with those Liberators. The Stalkers can't blink into this. He realizes it too late. He takes the hits. Marauders clean this up. The Liberators do get removed from the equation, but all the Stalkers are pretty much gone. Storm's going to hit what they can, but ByuN's doing a pretty good job of dodging away from those. And my god, this gets tight, and this gets scary.
I really like Stats composition for what ByuN was working with.
Yes.
Like, he not only went for Storms, he went for so many Immortals that the ground army was still very scary even without the Storms. This is a good move. Once again, take out the production, taking out the Immortal Maker.
The Immortal. Yeah, punch to the Baby Maker.
That's what it is. And more gateways going down. I think Stats split up his army. He's going to go for a base trade, though, because his split wasn't ever going to work out with this type of army.
I don't know if that'll work, though. I think ByuN's starting to run away with this.
The Stalkers come in. That actually made it look a lot better.
Of course, if you guys don't know, Ghosts are great against not Stalkers and Immortals, basically. But the rest of the army looks like it's coming in. Storm does hit. 4 Immortals is pretty scary, but their barriers have been used and they've been EMP'd, and that's why he's running away from this engagement.
He might save it. No, he can't save him. ByuN's reinforcements take care of him. So
Well,
try and
actually,
target fire down what he can, or just take the engagement.
Ghosts are very bad against Immortals, and this is 4 Immortals can bust through those very expensive Ghost units, no problem, but can't shoot up to that Liberator coming behind. It's gonna be a problem.
We gotta take out the Marauders at least before they go down. Like this wasn't so bad.
This trades out pretty well, actually. The Stalkers come in to try and deal with the Liberator, but I think the Bio's still gonna win out, honestly.
He has to wait for like a handful of reinforcements.
Oh, you know what? Shoot, I forgot about this. You mentioned it. He's flipping the gold over now, but ByuN lost a lot of SCVs. His income's not very good. Stats are still on 4 bases despite all the army losses he took. So I said ByuN was starting to run away at this game, but that might be a very temporary statement.
Temporary? You're the country, you had tampons on the mind. Well, ByuN is kind of screwed, I think. Even if his army can take on the front army of stats, the adepts who are bringing in here are going to make sure there's really not any mining. And eventually ByuN will run out of army.
There's plenty of storms too, and this is not something you can't really run the SCVs away from the storms that you can. The Marines. Oh my god, that storm hits the core of everything so badly. GG!
Damn!
This was by far one of the most impressive straight-up Protoss games we've seen in a while, because we've seen so many games where Hero or Classic, they proxy, they get cheesy, they get all in, and they beat ByuN. But this has got to be one of the first macro games we've seen, and I want to say in months, that have taken on ByuN like that. That was so impressive to me out of stats.
Yeah. That was a long game. ByuN bringing it back in the mid game was impressive too,
But these are the types of finals we get. Thanks to Twitch for sponsoring this. We're going to head off to a small break, guys. When we return, game number 2. I'll see you soon. All right, folks, we're just going to load directly into the game as not to waste any time. You're, of course, tuned in to the finals of this week's BTSL. And one of the greatest things about having Twitch as a sponsor for this is we really get to double down. If you guys want to support the sponsor of this tournament and the channel, you can easily do so by subscribing. There is almost no situation I can think of where I can pitch that and actually have it be viable and not greedy. But truly and sincerely, thanks to Twitch for powering up the BTSL and making this a possibility. Game number 2 in the finals. Bottom right side, we've got the blue Terran. He's actually down in the series at the moment. It's ByuN.
In the top left is the red Protoss. He is stats.
Of course, we actually had Beastie stop by and chat during that last game, just kind of saying some sarcastic, oh, making Liberators in February 2017. Okay. Yeah, again, we weren't really too sure how the Liberator change would affect the matchup. And I gotta say, so far, it doesn't feel like it's been game-breakingly bad, but it certainly has cut out, like, I don't think you can harass the same way. I think it's a lot more important to have good positioning and not rely on Widow Mines as much. Like, the Liberators can't be out in the open, is my point. They can no longer afford to waste any shots. And at a glance, like, maybe that's good, maybe that's bad, but I just want to, again, go back to game number 1 for a moment, and what was so cool for me about that game was Liberators or not, Widow Mines or not, that was such a straight-up game out of stats, and it was beautiful to watch. Storms got into play, Ghosts got into play, we got really deep into a TvP, and that was an absolutely excellent matchup.
It was. ByuN made it more of a game than it was originally going to be, though. Like, when stats pushed into the third base choke, I think a lot of other Terrans are broken straight up. And maybe stats had microed a little bit better here and there. Maybe he could have as well. But regardless, they just take too much damage and they fall apart shortly after that. ByuN made the game by his drops and by pulling stats apart. And he almost got to a comfortable spot if he had not taken more SV damage after that push. So it's just really a really cool game by both of them.
Yeah.
But stats just not adopting the other Protoss path.
He doesn't want to walk on the dark side, man. He's a Jedi.
Yeah, I guess so. No, he's no Sith, man. ByuN goes for 3cc. He has been playing some greedy builds, like Command Center first.
Right, but this is weird because when he does CC first and he does like those really like the 3 barracks greedy builds, I like those a lot versus Protoss. But I also don't feel like those builds solve the problem what Stats has been throwing at him. Because Stats isn't, he's not like 2 base all inning. Like Stats' attack commences as he builds his 4th.
They would give ByuN a nice like boost in a head-on fight, which, you know, that's the type of ways you can, well, there's 3 ways to play Terran, I suppose. There's like multi-drops, harassment everywhere, there's like one big push with tanks or with a lot of bio, and then there's, I guess, turtling Deliberators, which might be less played. No.
Sorry, something on my throat.
No. But anyway, ByuN tried kind of the drop opener, and he wasn't like super everywhere around the medevacs. He did have one big push that just was overwhelmed by Stats' macro. But that's something that maybe if he had gone for a CC first, he would be able to meet. And, well, it's not CC first, it is a very fast 3rd CC, so he is going to maybe get a boost. Because the Stats expecting a Wouldn't Mind drop, he's still going to take a safely, you know, timed 3rd, not a greedy 3rd, and might think he's ahead when he's not, because it's going to be a while before he sees what the build is.
Sometimes being a mech player can feel really cyclonely.
Yeah, that was a stretch, but I'll take it. That gets you 5
grubs?
points.
Can I go gamble those? Turn your Rebel bot on right now, please.
5 grubs is like a minute, man. Like, how poor do you think your jokes are? Jeez.
My jokes are a cry for help.
Yeah, okay, that's right. Oh, Stats. If he knew it was a 3rd CC, which I'm sure he doesn't know. No, he doesn't. And he hasn't scouted beyond the natural command center, so the only other way you could tell without scouting 3rd CC is by how many units there are and how little tech there is. So he'd have to see the army, which he hasn't done either. I don't think he knows, unless he just really knows ByuN. But his build is coincidentally going to be quite good. Going for an aggressive Blink Stalker attack can actually work. You have to be kind of careful, Marauders are out, but there's no tank, and the reduction is really only just kicking in, and there's obviously no medevacs either. So he could contain ByuN and keep him off the 3rd base for a while, but is it going to be worth delaying his own 3rd for as long as he is? That's the question.
Yeah, this is... It's kind of interesting because on one hand, if the contain goes off, it's actually really hard to contain Terran. At some point, they're going to drop where you're not looking. But it is going to be huge for ByuN to get denied like that, and if it goes off long enough. On the other hand, too, I think Stats was really hoping he could have just blinked past the bunker, but realizing there's an army there, blinks away. I like the precision, doesn't lose much, doesn't over-dedicate, but sadly doesn't get the bunker.
ByuN played pretty safe by building a bunker and a wall, but Stats still has an army to split ByuN's attention. But time is running out. Stim just finished and medevacs are on the way, so he needs to get his production going too. So slowly take away this SCVs. 6 SCVs is not bad. And still patrolling the front too, making sure that ByuN doesn't surprise him by moving out really quickly.
Okay, well, while this goes on, the Immortals come out, and this is kind of me going back to what I was just talking about last time, where I really like that he's not rushing to Colossus. I feel like not only just generally versus Terran, Colossus don't seem to be that good right now, but especially versus ByuN specifically. So I like that he doesn't create this opening by going for this weird wonky tech. Plus, we've already seen through many games of Stats tonight even, just how good Immortals can be in the right situations, used the correct way.
I think Stalkers have to be on point. You can't just lose these. This is the majority of his army right now. They're constantly checking to see if the Warp Prism can go back in. And oh, interestingly enough, ByuN is taking the forward 3rd. It's not super rare. It is rarer.
Well,
and if the Warp Prism knew that, they just go over there.
Yeah. Wow, okay, Stalkers, you're really loud and talk for a while, but okay. Enemy, know thy fury. As the Adepts get into the main, unfortunately, they're going to kill like 1 SCV for the trouble. That really sucks. But it does distract some of ByuN's army, so it's not the whole army in the front lines. Picks up some of those medevacs to go meet up, though.
Seeing that much army back at home, I think gives him a little more confidence that he's not just going to absolutely die right now, which means his Resident Glaives can finish up and he can even get maybe a 3rd Immortal. He's looking for the army, though. If he's caught out of position, he's kind of screwed. Like, he doesn't have a lot of pylons. His militia corps is in the main, not the natural.
Yeah,
I'm surprised he's pushing out without knowing where the army is.
Well, the money in this game has been invested so heavily in things like the Immortals because he wants to take an army fight. So I understand why he's pushing out. But you're right, this was done without vision and a little bit blind. And we've talked about stats. When he sees what it's coming, he knows how to fight. Force fields go down. He's going to catch some of the units for this, but it's not going to get too extreme.
That really wasn't that bad, though. The sandwich ended up kind of working out. It could have flipped on him, and he could have maybe sniped that one immortal. But now, even feeling aggressive, I really don't know if he should be doing this. ByuN does have a bigger army, but
it is catching units, though. I mean, like, bleeding out 1 or 2 Marauders might not seem like a much until suddenly that's 4 or 5 Marauders that are dead.
The War Person can't actually help out here. Like, it's still stuck.
Yeah, the Woodmines are broke. That's what I was looking at before, because I think he tried to go in while the attack was commencing elsewhere. But Stats still doesn't know about the third. More importantly, where it would be. So when he scouts with these Adepts to see there's no third on this side, I'm not sure if that'll prompt him to scout the right side. This is such an unconventional base to take. In a very light sense of the phrase, it's almost like a hidden base.
I don't know how those Woodmines did not pop on the Woodmine. Oh, and the jukes are cool, too. But right, that third base should have been an easy peasy area to go in and out of the man in the third, and you know there would have been a lot more SCVs cut at this point. But instead, ByuN sets it up very easily.
He's ruling the income with it. Actually, look at the income graph. Jeez.
Stats has always been on the edge since his opener didn't do enough damage to really warrant his later third. But letting it go like this, still, you know, continuously, ByuN is just gaining advantages. And Storm is way, way off. Archons might be worth, just they'll soak up a lot of damage as OEMPs.
I like the Immortals for that, even if that's going to be the case. But the first one gets focused down pretty quick. Liberators do set up, and again, these aren't going to be like one-shot units, but they do create a really hard engagement area, and Stats can't safely move forward to pick off any units. Like, this zoning control, okay, oh, it's all 75 damage versus 85 damage, but the point is you still can't move forward to pick off Marauders.
Luckily, there are just mostly Marauders, so the Immortals are really going to town up, much focus fire whatsoever. Oh, the Woodmine got a pretty good shot at the last second there, but he does clean up the Liberators.
But still, look at that rally stretching across the map. ByuN's got plenty of army to still work with, all things considered.
Stats needs a fourth, too. Oh, this might be too good of a concave.
You know what's scary?
Micro would be good.
The army is so big that to Stats, this might look like a 2-base all-in, but it's not. Like, I think Stats really doesn't know where he's at in this game.
He's had pretty bad scouting, like missing an entire third, which you think might just be building right now or only just finished up, is very different. He's gonna finally find it with these drops, but he's gonna see that it's even a little bit mined out already.
Oh jeez, yeah, that's a lot of money already gained in this base. Even if it were to go down now, even if all these SCVs died, I still think he's got value more than enough out of it. Because now that army comes in on the left side of the map, now I actually don't know how this will go. Woodmine's looking for some good hits.
Oh, there was an observer. He just couldn't target him down fast enough.
Yeah, he had burned his blinking into them. So he does deflect ByuN. Meantime, ByuN does deflect Stats, but I think at the end of the day, I'm liking his +2 weapons. I'm liking ByuN's position so much more as he takes his fourth. Stats is now reaching out for his fourth, and I feel like this is almost out of panic. This isn't his smooth macro that we saw in that earlier game.
Oh yeah, this fourth base should have been a lot sooner, especially since he was banking edge of minerals. I think he just really thought it was 2-base all-in and didn't hit yet.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think the misscouting this game really messed with him, and of course that base positioning was awesome out of ByuN. It's risky to take it. You know, we said when he was taking it, like, why is he taking it? But it's paid off.
Yeah, I'm still. Yeah, I don't think he took it because he thought it was gonna be secret, but it ended up being that way. So
you know what's funny?
More reason to.
That base almost only worked out because Stats is such a good player. If this had been a worse player, they would have been looking for it instead of assuming that ByuN was in a different position than he was. Like, Stats is actually too smart for his own good.
Shouldn't even be there unless you're the one that's in control of the game, which Stats has not been. I don't know if you should take a forward base, but then taking him off to the left, I mean, maybe with a drop.
This is kind of controlled, though. He catches a lot of this bio. It's very overstimmed at this point, but the Adepts get cleaned out very quickly, and oh god, this is bad. This is game.
I think he underestimated how much reinforcements were actually cleaning up the Adepts. And losing the Immortals, they were the ones that were keeping this game alive for him with how many Marauders ByuN was getting. Is absolutely devastating. That's gonna cause a game when I mean, losing the fourth base.
He's not tapping out, and I don't blame him because I think he may not have clicked the minerals. He may not have realized how long ByuN's been getting away with that base for. And if his assumption was like ByuN had only just taken that as I got there, then yeah, he probably doesn't think ByuN's that far ahead. But ByuN is yeah, the 69 army supply, the +2 weapon upgrades, there's just so much going for him.
He's been taking such good engagements for what is an overwhelming army every single time, and it was because of the Immortals.
Yeah. Yeah, Immortals go a long way. We've seen other players too, like to quote Foreigners, like Liquid Mana and some others, they make amazing engagements out of such small concentrated amounts of like immortals and other units, but unfortunately stats even couldn't turn that around for him. But okay, we'll go to another small break while we get the map selection out of stats, and we'll see you guys here in just a moment. All right, folks, welcome back. Game number 3. Things are tied up now 1-1 here for the finals. And of course, we continue through this best of 5. Winner of this gets $75. Loser gets $25. So they both get some money, but more importantly, the winner will be assured back an invite to the monthly finals. The funny thing is, though, this guy in the bottom left already has an invite from winning season 1. We have the blue Terran. It's ByuN.
In the bottom right is the red Protoss. He is spliced stats.
Actually, I just want to point out, if ByuN hypothetically were to win the 3 weekly cups, it would actually ruin the point economy for this, because if second place is the most coveted prize, it's actually worth less by, I think, 3 than the finals, the number 1, excuse me. So you could actually finish 4th place like 3 times, and I think have more points than someone who finished 2nd place and a 4th place finish.
Okay, you can do that.
I'm not gonna do the math right now, but I'm just saying,
if you want.
If ByuN were to win every single weekly, he would actually make grinding the cups more worthwhile for everybody else, if that makes sense.
Oh.
Because all he's doing is removing first place prize. Because he's like, again, he's already invited to the monthly finals.
Yeah. I get it.
To like start worrying about like inflation via ByuN for points.
Yo, I was so adult yesterday. I did my taxes. I applied for a credit card. I
thought you already had a credit card, no?
My parents gave me a credit card in my name.
Oh, so this would be actually yours.
Yeah, like I have to pay the balance on it type deal.
Okay, that's cool.
I applied for one of them fancy credit cards.
You know, just as a side note, I've had a credit card for a long time now, and I got a second one, which made splitting business expenses versus like personal expenses really easy. I don't know how difficult or easy that would be for you, but my bank just had that option, so I was like, yeah, please, hello.
That's my next thing to do, honestly, is have separate accounts in the bank. Do that. I already have a separate PayPal, which has made things a little bit easier, and then maybe a second credit card too. It's a business credit card, but I'll be working with the one for now.
Yo,
see how that goes? Because I gotta learn how to.
Are you gonna get like a bank default credit card, or are you gonna try and get like one of those customized ones?
Oh, yeah, so I meant by fancy. I got one of the I got a points card, a reward card. So it's like the Chase Sapphire.
Oh, because I've just imagined you put like a K-pop credent card together and trying to hand that over to somebody.
I don't think I can customize it. No, I wish. I mean, that was honestly a little bit like tempting to get one that you could. But I went with one that was like pretty well like advised for people to travel. Anyway, point is a lot of adulting, and then I got an IRA, which is just like the most mature thing I've ever done.
Okay, the IRA is a terrorist group in Ireland, so what are you talking about?
What am I talking about? Not an IRA. Wait, no. Hold on.
It might have the same abbreviation. I don't know. I'm just saying I don't know what you're.
Yeah, it is the same. Yeah, a Roth IRA. It's like a retirement fund.
Oh, cool. But
it's not 401k because usually I could get a 401k, but it's not worth unless I have an employer that's matching. Whifkin.
Look, we split everything even, so I'm technically matching if you think about it.
Anyway, yeah, I thought you knew. You've always been up on the things. You invest things.
Yeah, I mean, I've got like RSVPs and stuff set up, but I don't know. I guess different names for different things.
I guess so. That's enough real life stuff for now.
All right, we got video games to talk about, Zombie Grab, but this Oracle catches ByuN a little bit off guard. Not enough to devastate him, but it stalls out the barracks, for example. It gets a couple of SCV kills, and it keeps the Marines from dropping on top of this too. So this one Oracle from stats got mediocre damage, but did a lot to keep ByuN at home.
It also scouted and confirmed that it was a Widow Mine drop. So the third base being taken right now is absolutely fine, and it's almost already done.
We just got a donation coming in too. Speaking of all those adult things with money, unfortunately this doesn't go towards us. The reminder that donations to the channel are going to the mega fundraiser. So thank you, Shroom5, for the $5 again. This guy says, do I need to spell correctly here? Chat is bullying me. Bible thump. Uh-oh, does somebody need temporary mod to avoid getting bullied? Is that what's going on here? Or do you want me to just ban all the mods? Let me know, Shroom.
Ban all the mods, including yourself.
You're the first one to go, Zombie Grub. I've had enough. Trying to
Usually
drop.
I am. And you forget to unban me.
No, I always unban you. I always forget to remod you is what I forget to do.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Okay. While this goes on, the third base finished up, and you brought this up, and it's a good point that you did, because I really like that this is a way to, like, okay, ByuN got shut down for his opener, sure, but had he still persisted in trying to go through with it, okay, you got enough Widow Mines to drop maybe the main and the natural, but that third then gets to mine freely, and there's no sweat, no troubles. So he really gets away with a lot by doing this. On top of the fact that he is going for the Twilight Council, we got the Forge on the way, he's got Phoenix for policing things. This is the stats I like. Game number 2 stats felt very uncomfortable and just not as good as he did in game 1, I guess is the best way to phrase that. Game 3, I'm already liking his macro game, and his potential looks great going forward.
Well, his attempt last game at actually doing damage would have done well against a Widow Mine drop that didn't go for tanks, which ByuN doesn't do more so than another Terran, I think. Like, Gumi almost always goes for tanks, but it also would have done well, like, if he had also gotten a bit faster third after it, but he delayed it for so long. Like, yeah, it did make it into a very uncomfortable looking game for him, just constantly on the back seat. And this one was the much smoother game, like Proxima Station. And it's kind of, it's ByuN's time now to do something about it. But it's the cutting edge of that time, man. Like, he has his Stim combat shields +1 finishing up, but Stats also has his production finishing up. So this is the go time.
All right, well, the Oracle pulling back, it did get a revelation. So Stats sees the army marching across the map. He knows that this isn't going to be some cheeky drop off to the side. I like that he did this as well in several of the other games where he like really doubles down on the pylons. There's very little like singular pylons, and it's not about warp ins or canceling production, but it is about double overcharges and triple overcharges.
Mm-hmm. And scans. Oh, scans again. Takes out the observer. Not bad idea. Resident Glaze and +1's almost done, and now Stats, I think, takes the army on with defensive overcharges, that is. No problem. Unless he also goes into Widow Mines. He force fields. Getting a bit here and there. ByuN is just going to team up with the rest of his army. No, he's not. He kind of veers with the rest of his medevacs. No, he is going to go for it. Okay.
Unfortunately, Shrew wants me to ban all the mods. That wasn't a real offer. You caught me. I'm a liar. Rifkin can't keep his word. Report me to the Broken Promises police.
Yeah, they've caught so many people in esports.
Actually, I'll make a concession,
manager and yeah.
I'll ban Mr. Boris.
You're gonna give him soda? Or?
No. I ban Mr. Boris macro for him. But only for a moment. Boris, I got you. Hang on. I could unban him. I spelled his name wrong. There we go. No more bullying. No more bullying in chat, guys. It's so mean. Okay, the attack in the middle of the map still waiting to happen. That awkward bit of, I guess people watching this on YouTube are going to understand what just happened. It's going to just be a really awkward lull in the middle of the game. But that's why you got to watch us live on Twitch, guys. Double Liberator production. He's got the medevacs. He doesn't really need to make Vikings. So I like the Liberators. Whether they're good or not, you know, damage nerf aside, we'll find out. But just walking away from them for the time being. Stats' army's pretty good. And I guess because he did have a Stargate opener, there is the potential of these Phoenix helping deal with them.
Technically, there are so many Widow Mines, man. There's no blinking into that. War Prism can help out Micro, so it is worth having on the front lines as opposed to trying to bring ByuN back. Now, ByuN is 2-base all-in, by the way, but it is matched by stats with the fast third and production already finished up. So it's going to be a battle of Micro, and already Stats loses the Sentry, loses an Immortal.
This is one of those few times having a Colossus with range wouldn't be bad to just hold position on the other side of the Liberator line, but as we can see, the Immortals are not doing too bad of a job. Stalkers are trading out decently. It's unfortunate that Blink's still not done because we see some really awesome micro out of stats in the previous games. I'm sure we'd see it again here, but that Widow Minefield guarantees there's no way to blink in and deal with those Liberators.
This is going to go pretty well, it looks like. Even with the Widow Mine still popping
Concave
off and the Liberator still doing damage. Yeah, that Concave is good. There's still Immortals to chunk away at the leftover Marauders.
And he can lift up what's left too with the Phoenix if he wants to catch some more of these Marauders. Medevacs might get out of here alive, and that's kind of okay, I guess, but this was a slaughter on the ground. The biggest thing is, Stats walks out of this with the Immortals alive. If those units had died, you could call this a little bit more of an even trade, but as you had pointed out, this was a 2-base all-in. The 3rd base might not even get to finish, actually.
I don't think so. Well, if it does, it's got to immediately lift. As soon as Stats warps in again with this Warp Prism, he should be moving in as well. He'd probably just avoid the Liberators, yeah. Just go to the natural.
Just walk up and around,
open.
yeah.
Well, there's a couple of Widow Mines, I guess, but the Phoenixes might be worth popping those off on those.
This is still too far gone, I think. I think Stats has absolutely run away with this game, and ByuN's army supply might look even, but it's not. GG. Stats takes a 2-1 lead, and this is why we love best of 5s, guys, because otherwise it would be all over.
No, it wouldn't. Oh, well, yeah, it would be. Sorry.
Well, actually, no, because if it was a best of 7 in the other direction, it wouldn't be. I got you. Anyways, as you guys see, the match arena page is being occasionally linked through the !mega command. Again, please do me a favor, guys. Click that link and use the code HamsterHuey. I actually have no idea if there's any codes left because we've claimed like literally hundreds of them at this point. But if there is the code HamsterHuey available, it will donate $1 to the prize pool on your behalf. So help us get as many dollars as possible. Of course, we did set up some rewards, and we'll be adding more rewards as the year goes on, but you should definitely check some of those out. Anyways, we're going to go to another commercial break. As we get into game number 4, ByuN has to take a moment to think about which map he wants, and we'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching. All right, folks, game number 4 loads in right now. We can see some beautiful BlizzCon portraits being used by each of the players as we get into Cactus Valley. Now, of course, this could be the last game in the series. Spawning in the bottom right, he's up 2-1, and he's put his opponent on his last life. Playing for Splice, and looking good, it's Stats.
In the bottom left is the Red Terran. He is ByuN.
Now, ByuN is not exactly playing poorly. There's no point, like, what I loved about the Innovation of ByuN series was just how well matched they were. It was very obvious watching them deflect one another. This series is being a little bit more of a tug-of-war than a deflection, but it's still, I feel like they're really well matched for each other. ByuN's trying a couple of risky things, I'd say, more than Stats is, but it's still like coming very close to working. Some of these attacks look really cool. I'm loving watching this series, but if it is going to be a 3-1 finals in the favor of Stats, that's still going to be a bit surprising to me. Because I still think, in my mind, this series, no matter who wins, it's got to be 3-2.
Maybe. ByuN did choose a map he's comfortable with. I'm surprised he didn't go for the CC first. They usually does, but even without that, Cactus Valley eventually gets to a point where you're tearing the Protoss apart. These positions make it a little bit harder, believe it or not. Like, it's a very obvious drop to the natural, which you can defend by having units there. But then to get to the main or the third, you'd have to go around. And it's a little bit longer, but I'm sure ByuN's going to try and do that. It's just a question of the Stats have the units in the correct position.
If you're moving units from the main to the third, are you main-arting them over?
No.
Oh, okay.
Main-arting is only the concept of transferring to the first extra base you get to have sufficient or efficient mining.
Okay, come down there, nerd.
Nerd, no my god. It's not like this official thing.
I didn't ask for a science lesson, Zombie Girl. We came here for StarCraft.
God. If you're not really supposed to use the word main-arting for transferring, it's not quite the same concept.
Well, I was just because it sounded like main to third, main iron, like whatever.
Oh, okay, that's
apparently
totally
the code, by the way, is totally still available. Someone in chat reporting in. Ian Chan 2003 saying, I just donated with the code. So that's awesome to hear, man. Again, we've gotten a huge boost out of this, and we're over 4,000 now. Again, if the 47S is still tuning in, everyone give that guy some praise. He donated like $96 or something recently. Really awesome to see stuff like that. But I'm so it's not even about the fundraiser itself. It's about like the end game of just that. We're gonna have such a sick tournament. We're gonna have the foreigners who've been like training in the house in Korea like all year up against these Koreans that we know are good at StarCraft. Like I really want. I'm just gonna say it right now. Like I want Scarlet to win that tournament. No matter what happens in the year.
Or anything.
No, I'm gonna be like I want a foreigner to win that tournament, but more importantly, I want Scarlet to win that tournament.
Oh, she's an adopted Korean anyway. That sucks with the NA qualifiers.
Korea boo.
Korea took it all. Yeah, you think I'm a Korea boo? Yeah, okay. Anyway, we do have ByuN going for another Widowmine drop. No. Yeah. Wait. No?
No.
No, he went for 2-1-1. Yeah, okay. I was like, wait a minute, time was all off here. Yeah, okay, so 2-1-1. Alright, so changing things up still. Game to game. Stats is not going for the fastest third. He is once again going for Blink, Gateways. And he is chronoing Blink and Warp Gate, which the Reaper, I think, barely saw.
He saw both of them, and that was a pretty big detail. Unfortunately, you can't see chrono through Hog of War, so we can't confirm that, but I think he was looking when the Reaper died. I imagine he was at least, so... If he realizes this, there's the problem where you don't know whether it's Resonating Glaives for Adepts or whether it's Blink for Stalkers, but either way, both require you just to make a lot of units.
It's true. Stats could try and patrol again outside the natural, like on Belshir. And it might still be worth. Again, you catch them when their production's still low, but I think with Stim done, it wouldn't be. So they should just kept back at home and, you know, ready to intercept the drops. If Stim's not done, you can pick off units even with like a huge bio army, but not worth to be chased down.
Well, I guess the just all things considered with the way Stats is played, the Blink's most likely not going to be for some crazy all-in. He has been getting it pretty much for maneuverability and defending well with it so far. But some bits coming in. Thank you, Full Metal Octopus. Don't rust underwater, bro. There's that Stim. Ooh, and stays just outside the range of the overcharge perfectly.
Oh, maybe worth. Oh man, if you only have 2 extra stalkers, that would have been totally worth. It kind of backfires on him.
Yeah, and this, by the way, is going to shut down the potential of the third that looks like Stats was setting up for as he gets the probe on the way out, but Full Metal Octopus just making it rain bits. I'm not sure what's going on here, but he's trying one of every emote, and I like it.
I guess that was his plan. Yep. Man, that really could have backfired on ByuN, and while it did backfire on Stats, it might be okay. He takes his third still at a reasonable time.
By the way, if you don't know Full Metal Octopus, there is a secret emote that a lot of people don't know about. Terminator would tell you about it if he was here, but because I know he's sleeping, I'll fill you in. You can do a Muxie 100 or Muxie 1 or Muxie whatever. But the point is, there's like secret Muxie emotes that are not listed there on Twitch, but are actually like a cool Easter egg.
ByuN's scared?
The bunker I think isn't so much scared as it is safe, but either way, I like that he got it. But the
absolutely no reason for it. Like, go immediately salvage it. But just on the off chance, I guess that Stats was preparing the counter with Mass Adept Link Stalker.
I think if this was game 2, we don't see that bunker. But ByuN is on his last life, and you really can't take a risk in just throwing it all away.
That's true. That's a pretty big army, and Stats, you know, losing the Stalkers early on like he did takes away from either more Blink Stalkers or more Adepts. Like, the point is, like, units he really needs to have. Either micro ability or just straight up engaging. The Adepts will have +1 in the Resonating Glaives, that's okay.
Yeah, I was going to say +1's finishing up for Stats, but ByuN already has his. And I think Guardian Shield does give the better edge, considering this is still mostly Marines. Guardian Shield just really nullifies their damage so hardcore.
Yeah, this does look like a good enough army. One of mine's kind of put in a clever spot, hoping to drag some of the units over to that ledge. It's actually hidden behind the rocks, so that's kind of cool.
That being said, though, the Observer would have seen it, and the Stalkers were ready. ByuN's third, about halfway finished up, so still trailing behind Stats in that regard. And as we can see, the Akin graph definitely reflects when ByuN's not muling. Warp Prism set up to the bottom side is going to get sighted by the Marine. I actually like that he did go into attack immediately. Now he can get the units underneath it to kill it. But, oh, the Liberator kind of gives it away. Awkward. He's setting up so perfectly for it. Fire whoever's piloting that ship. But you know what? Liberators are whatever for their damage. Once again, it's Cactus Valley, so there's chokes created in a lot of areas. Got a couple of force fields come down, but Widowmine set up underneath them, and this is not an easy position for Stats to break.
Goes on Stalker, man. Well, can actually get some of those Widowmines. Definitely good pickoffs there.
Yeah, he kind of has
barely not coming.
He can't get into the fight with Liberators protected like this.
Yeah, his Marauders desperately want to take out, like, 3 Marauders or force loaded off, but it was just too awkward. He couldn't do it.
The Immortal's still in hold position in the back. I do love seeing a lot of hold position play out of stats. It's such a silly thing to compliment, but we see too many times Stalkers just walk errantly into the Liberators. It forces a bad engagement, and then yeah, you're just out of the game. But ByuN is taking control of the situation. I love using the terrain like this. Again, who cares about the damage nerf? It's the choke that's killing stats here more than the Liberator damage.
Yeah, and that's why Cactus Valley is pretty good. Pretty annoying for Protoss to deal with. And coming from two sides, and the Adepts managed to get, I think, 2 Widow Mines off. Bad.
He's trading out well, though. I mean, just poking and prodding. The army supply almost doubling that of stats now. And, of course, this Widow Mines finally going to go off. Desperation sets in. He focuses down the Liberators. And the Immortals might clean up this initial army, but there's more where that came from.
Good, you know, micro with the War Prism, but I don't think he has enough. He needs more Adepts in here. The War Prism's targeted down. The Immortals are just barely holding strong enough, but another Liberator and Widow Mines. Sats on 3 bases, needs gases. Oh wow, I never said there's gases. That sucks. But ByuN is also on 3 bases, so this is not the same situation as last game. Sats is just falling behind, straight up. So he's kind of screwed.
Yeah. Well, this is good, though, because this will give us Game 5. Ace match hype, right? But ByuN, I really feel like even with this looking as good as it is for him now, I don't think this was easy for him to get to. And that's not because Stats was doing a lot of damage or not, but this whole series has been so much pressure. We talked about that useless bunker, which I'm sure was just out of fear alone. Yeah, that's going to be game, though. Stats lost way too much to recover at this point.
He even had to warp in a couple of Zealots, because I think that was when his gas was super low. It's like almost tripling the army supply. ByuN has got this.
Liberators get picked off. The Immortals are surprisingly good, but again, it's not about what's here and now on this part of the map.
An observer.
Widow Mines. It's not even about what's here and now. It's about everything that's being produced and rallied at home, and 3 bases, possibly a 4th one at some point. I mean, ByuN's scanning to wonder, like, why is Stats staying in this game? Like, does he have a 4th I didn't know about? But no, that's not the case. Widow Mine's gonna burrow. The other ones are coming off cooldown shortly. Has he been grunting about? There's no observer. Man. Like,
if he had cleaned up every single time the Widow Mines as they came in, killed, it might be a recoverable situation.
I agree. There's actually been very close and very tight fights, but I think, yeah, because of those Widow Mines, this has gotten a little too far out of hand, and that has everything to do with detection. And it's so unfortunate that that's been the issue here for Stats, because again, I praise him in every game. His vision, his detection, his observer coverage, it's always been what's, in my opinion, won him the games.
But he needed to choose Immortals or Observers, and for a long time, he was choosing Immortal production. He was quite good, I would say, on prioritizing his Robo.
I almost wonder, like, if you can't afford to do 2 Immortal production, but you need an Observer, is the second Robo still worth it?
Oh, dear God, the Widow Mines. There's no way you can blink on top of that. Oh, okay, well, he tried. Yeah,
the Widow Mines did friendly fire down the Liberators, so kind of mission accomplished. Kind of, with a big asterisk, but yeah, as we were saying, Stats has been on borrowed time for the last few minutes.
Yeah, that's really good. Widow Mines are good units, man.
You know, Widow Mines or whatever, it's Widow Mines comboed like that make them such, like, I think, arguably balanced, whiny units. But okay, this will actually make the last map pick in the series Stats's, so at least he gets to pick from the remaining 3. We'll see what he goes with in a moment, but once again, let's get this last set of commercials out of the way so we can get into the final game. See you guys in 2 minutes. Alright folks, we're back, and I just want to show this off before we get in the finals. We're in the lobby, we're about ready to go, but Phil Jacob actually got his Partouf recently in the mail, and I love this little setup. He's got this cute... he's got the salt, perfect, absolutely fucking perfect. He's got the GG button, he's got the 2 lings, but most importantly, he's got base trade on in the background. Unlike a lot of fakers that we've seen trying to send us screenshots saying they're watching the channel, and they got fucking like nation wars and shit in the background. So, Phil Jacob at Cubicle Warfare, I salute you. I'm also glad you got your Partouf, dude. Hope you're enjoying it. But okay, we are in Game 5 for this finals. It's gone all the way. In the top left, he's playing for Splice, representing the hopes and dreams of Protoss everywhere in this imbalanced matchup. It is the red Protoss stats.
In the bottom right, the blue Terran, he is ByuN.
Repping that team expert. But I just realized something amazing, Zombie Grub.
And that is?
If stats say that Terran is OP, does that make it true?
Oh, that's a good one. That made me think for a little bit. Stats
Actually,
do say that ByuN is OP and Terran is OP.
And me like cave girl too. Ugh, ugh, zug. But actually, it's kind of funny. I wonder how puns play in Koreans like that don't speak English as their first language, because stats could like be drunk at a party, be like,
No?
I think Terran's OP, and they're like, what do you have to back that up? You're like, stats say Terran's OP.
It'd be like them trying to teach you a Korean pun, so.
You know what though? Honestly, that would probably encourage me a little bit more to yeah. Like if I learned, oh, this small phrase is perhaps humorous, tell it at a party, I'll memorize that phrase.
Yeah, I think it's totally possible to be told a joke or a pun in Korean based off other Korean words, but to make a pun based off of situations is, I think, a little bit difficult to train someone to do.
I've never even heard of anyone doing that before.
I know. Wow.
Sure, it's not an
Thank you
urban
to
legend.
Nigma33 for the Twitch Prime sub.
Yeah, and of course, we had Lycan hit us up with a 28-month resub a little bit before that. And we missed them earlier, but Ailrath and Daxter23 both resubbing as well. Thank you guys for continuing to support the Base Trade Brigade. I'm still going to try and make that a thing. I don't care.
Cooler than we really are, to be honest.
To be honest, we're pretty freaking cool, all right? Like we're negative Fahrenheit. That's how cool we are.
That is pretty cold.
Nice.
Good
cool.
thing you distinguished.
All right, so Stargate comes out of stats. There's a couple things that have been going well for him in the series. I would certainly say Stargate is one of them. Another has been his faster thirds, I think, paying off really well, given that economy to just overwhelm ByuN in a lot of his wins. However, the Stargate opener doesn't mean that he's going to get away with a lot. We've seen some Stargate openers that it's an Oracle and a Phoenix, and you just denied a Widowmine, and that was the sole purpose of the Stargate, and that's totally fine. Stats hasn't exactly been going Tempest Rush, for example, so I'm curious to see how he uses it. Paladino Terminal is a weird map, and I really thought this would have been a ground-based thing, but it's actually just occurring to me now, we haven't seen Stats a single time do the Pylon Overcharge Rush.
Nope. He has been the opposite of cheesy or cheeky. He's been macro-y and... What is the opposite of cheeky?
I guess just very...
We're gonna look this up here.
Studious or whatever, like you're very serious.
Studious is not. Antonyms for cheeky. Demure. Humble. Modest. There we go.
I'm the most humble person I know.
Good one. It's a good joke. Everyone appreciates that joke. It's a classic. That's a pun you should teach someone. What's not a pun? Damn.
Okay, so to note, Stats does take a pretty quick third.
Sure.
But it is funny because we have been seeing for, I want to say, 2.5 to 3 weeks back to back. Classic and Hero are the big forerunners on this, but Protoss really were leaning on playing cheesy to get wins over Terran. So it is cool for me to see us have Stats, even if Stats loses this 3-2. By the way, I just want to point out, I was right. I said this would go 3-2 one way or the other. But even if he loses this 3-2, I think what's been really impressive is showing that the best Terran can still lose to straight up macro play at a Protoss. And you don't have to take this in a direction that's cheesy. Reflected on the earlier parts of the bracket too, showing that foreign players like Mcanny through Disruptor play can beat even some Gumi gods out there. Where none of the Protoss Koreans that played today could even take a game off Gumiho, Mcanny did. So I look at this and I don't know if this is because of the patch or if this is just a coincidence, because I feel like this is the direction we were ramping up to over the last few weeks anyways. But I love seeing that the Protoss matchup isn't totally screwed, if that makes sense.
It was a concern. I mean, it was all fun to watch cheesy Protosses, but then it'll get kind of boring just watching them only be able to cheese. Well, that's odd. I didn't realize that blocked. Okay. Well,
I think they actually just added that in the patch. Actually, there was a mention of some refinery on some map now properly blocks air. It kind of looks like that might be that.
I guess that could be a refinery. Okay, well, the game goes into a macro game, you know, Stats at fast third, ByuN with no aggression whatsoever, but it's Paladin Terminal. It's not what I expected when Stats chose this map.
No, me neither. I was expecting the Pylon Rush, for example.
Yeah, I hate that thing. And I guess maybe he's also thinking, I've gotten to 3 bases fairly easily in all the games. The one game he didn't was because of his own accord. Like,
oh, that sucks to lose the Oracle like
this
that.
Cactus used a little bit. That does suck. That should have been a revelation, easy peasy. But the point is, like, most of the games, third Nexus, not too much of a problem. That means that ByuN's first attack will be hitting sooner and stronger and more well-reinforced. But it also means that if he does with it okay and counterattacks, you know, he would also maybe catch ByuN without a bunker, for instance, or without extra reinforcements. So it's basically whoever is the aggressor. It turns into a ZVZ basically with Lings. Like, you might overcommit with aggression and not be able to have the Brand's advantage because it's a super damn short map.
Well, the force field's cut off ByuN's army in a horrible way, and while chokes have been favoring ByuN in a lot of these games, not in the start of this fight, but the army supply is big. Like, it's 54 worth of Marines, Marauders, whatever. The point is, he's got +1. So that's a lot of units that have upgrades that are going to tear through this. But Guardian Shell's going to help out a ton with this. Overcharge is going to go off. The army is split up by those force fields once again, and Stats is, I like, not chasing. He's actually playing this a little bit more conservatively.
That Mothership Core almost went down, but is still a pretty crucial tool until Stats get another round of warp-ins.
Oh, but this is a problem. No easy way to get to the main. A couple of Adepts are out. The Phoenixes are trying to chip away at the Medivacs, but buying time with this first wave of Adepts, they're not going to clean this drop up. Oh, and that Widowmine just got like a double kill on Phoenix, I think, or at least one of the kills. Whatever point is, less Phoenix, less to shoot the Medivacs. Army's going to be struggling to deal with the Immortals, but this way he just picks up and goes to the third again. So the overcharges are super crucial.
Okay, he does skirt the edges of them. Not bad by ByuN. Now the army's out of position once again, and ByuN's going to try and go ahead for a sniper. At least a couple of pylons, maybe. He's not stimming, though, so he's just going to meet up with the rest of his army.
This is so scary for Stats. He can kind of afford to lose the third because of the way ByuN's dedicated to this, but obviously it's best if he doesn't. The Widowmines do get taken out. The Observers providing detection isn't going to be the issue this game. But once again, everything picks up and goes to the main, and it's a little bit difficult for Stats to walk all the way around and get there.
But Blink is done. This might be the last time.
He just picked up the Medivac with one stalker, by the way. That was super sick.
Yeah, he did. That was really nice. This might be the last time he ever gets a drop, and there is that potential. He's not really killing the army anymore. So if Stats clean this up and then just goes counter, ByuN might not be able to hold.
ByuN came into the fight with a 20-something supply lead, too. It's evened up. In fact, Stats now has a supply lead himself.
Oh, he's using a ton of probes, though. Definitely transfer back soon.
That being said,
40?
I mean, I don't want to get... This isn't meant to be a balanced statement here, but like Chrono Boost is actually pretty cool, and you can get back to that probe count fairly quick. I'm not sure he's so worried about this yet. I think close to 40 is still good. But more to the point, again, ByuN on 2 bases. No third CC in sight. His production, not so great, and he's even adding on more barracks as we speak.
Well, he might be stuck once again. Hopefully Stats is not getting some flashbacks to the Gumiho game.
Yeah, right.
That was Stats, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, hang on. Look at... Oh, my God. So many Widowmines. This is going to be scary. It's not even the question of detection, and it might be, because there's only the one observer on the entire map, by the way. But it's the fact that he doesn't... I almost want to see him do that move again where he just elevators everything up to the main, right? Oh, no. This better just be for scouting.
Oh, no. Okay, yeah, exactly. Good.
Oh, okay. Well, deep breaths here as he does decide to go harass some of the main with these Adepts.
I gotta imagine this robotics bay is for Colossus, although the amount of Widowmines and how much trouble has been given Stats, I almost want to see Colossus and Disruptors both deal with Widowmines.
I think Disruptors would be better, though, because the Colossus has to actually move close to the Liberation Zone and possibly get sniped. But the Disruptor can stay way the hell back and shoot forward.
That's the reason I was thinking, too. But there's not that many Liberators either. 4 is not terrible.
Yeah, well, there's still... It depends on whether they fight in a choke, right? Like, obviously, if you're fighting here, Liberators are king.
Okay.
You should never take that fight if you're fighting against Terran. But this is kind of cool. That engineering bay, by the way, I don't think he was trying to hide it per se, but it was here to scout anything that would be hidden in the smoke. So this War Prism's not getting away with anything. Big pickoff to stop Stats' harassment, and now ByuN can focus entirely on the front lines, excuse me. But unfortunately, as much as we were hoping for disruptors, it is going to be Colossus. I don't know how this is going to go down. We haven't seen Colossus play at all in this series.
That was so dangerous, but luckily for ByuN, Stats kind of missed the force field.
Well, it
wasn't
late
to let units through.
As you say, it wasn't really miss, but it was late. Yeah, it's kind of hard to miss that force field.
He did technically though. Units could get through it.
That's true, I guess. Okay, well, there's still so many Widow Mines. It's going to keep us from getting forward. That's where the Colossus are supposed to come into play, but they don't have extended Thermal Lance yet. Stats still has to buy a little bit of time.
I think he's got that time though. ByuN does have a 3rd CC on location, so this is not quite all in, but he could be in danger of getting his army melted. A lot about those Widow Mines protecting those Liberators.
Yeah, and if he's pushed back, I don't think you deflect Stats now that he's got Colossus out. I think this worked well before because he was only on gateway units, but there's a little bit more. There's Immortals in the mix too. The Nexus is already low from earlier, gonna go down, but the 4th starts up while this is happening, so he can transfer the probes over and maybe just lose some vulnerability here on the front lines.
It's not the worst thing yet, but he is getting more and more cornered, and if he gets cornered into his natural, the 4th is going to be taken out easy peasy,
well, this is
and
also,
he'll never escape.
Well, this is also where the chokes for the Liberators start kicking up again. Like, this little hallway is devastating. You can't push into this.
Oh, he's not. Okay, so he's going to... I guess you got to protect your main base, but I thought he was going to go the other way around. That would leave options for ByuN to pick up, but his medevacs are so dry. He doesn't have healing, and he's still using his starport for things other than medevacs.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, actually. I didn't consider that. You know, you get those 4 medevacs out, and that's supposed to be dry by now, but he can't even fully heal up these units that are stimmed. But my god, that minefield is thick, like THICC, and 11 Widow Mines are going to keep Stats from moving forward.
Maybe he could hallucinate? I don't think it'll last long enough.
Just make, if you hallucinate probes, you get 4 of them.
This is true.
Send endless waves of hallucinations.
Find an angle. Kind of links into him, but not as devastating as it could have been.
He actually his Stats gets the better end of that trade, in my opinion. He's down an army supply for it, but killing so many Widow Mines.
Yeah, that really was the anchor of ByuN's army. Luckily, he bought so much time and killed a 3rd base that he did manage to continue the game, basically, because if it didn't, if it was just instantly cleaned up, he does not have Vikings. He doesn't have upgrades either. And now he has the and a 3rd CC.
I do want to bring up too, Stats stopped making Colossus at 4, and I like this move a lot. I think that these have fairly limited use for how much supply they take up above all else, but also for how expensive they are. And ByuN may end up overcommitting the Vikings. Like, if you end up spending enough money to build 40 Vikings for 4 Colossus, it's going to feel really bad. He's already on 8. He needs a little bit more for sure, but beyond 12 becomes questionable.
Yeah, 12 to 16. It's really a question of how do you want to take the engagement. 12 would probably take an engagement okay with the bio. 16, you might be able to sack a few and try and get them before the Colossus touches your bio.
Yeah,
and then anything above that is really just like suicide levels.
Well, so at the same time, those Stats could double down. If he goes for Templar Archives and gets Storms, then you'll need a lot more Vikings than that. But talk about that more if that comes into play. Right now, he's still tentative to go up that ramp. It's so difficult to take a fight, but at least there's no Widow Mines waiting for him.
Yeah. No complications. You guys are adding in disruptors, which I don't mind at all. Disruptors or immortals. I think both are good options.
The disruptors for me come off as a bit questionable. I think they were a lot better when the Widow Mines were prevalent, and there's not even that much bio. There's so much focus on the air.
Stopping the chase of the Vikings, but he doesn't have them yet, so the army did chase into him.
And this got really awkward. The Colossus weren't really fighting anything on the south side. They should have been on the north side, fighting the bio. ByuN's starting to collapse on this. Stats' army is disappearing, and I think this might just be where we see the end of the game.
He also didn't escape when I thought he was. Like, he could have maybe saved a couple more Stalkers. Like, this game is not quite over. There's no healing. The Marauders, had 3 Marauders been alive, could have just been chunked through. Gets a decent shot with the Disruptor, at least forces the lift off, and the game goes on. But Stats should have taken a better fight. Like, the fact that his Colossus were chased down, again, that's where the Disruptors would have played in, but also that they weren't attacking while being chased down was huge.
So I definitely retract, like, this could be the end of the game here. I really thought ByuN was going to run away with that, but what's funny to see is still more production on Disruptors, and we see disruptors so scarcely used nowadays, I'm actually worried about ByuN, wondering if he knows how to deal with them correctly. And not in terms of like, oh, do you know what units to make, but can you dodge and weave? Have you had enough practice against these? Because very few people have been using disruptors.
Stats also really needs a fourth. ByuN has already lived as a command center and has a, I want to say, a pretty safe base. It's such a low economy game that Stats can't really afford Warp Prism or to spend it across the map with 4 Adepts, unless he gets that fourth. Whereas, of course, ByuN, his drops are units and 10 of that. He could still drop. He tried, but there's stalkers, so he might never try again. I don't know. Stats is getting a fourth at the very bottom location.
We've talked about these base locations though, right? Like both the third and the fourth present this problem where you kind of get baited in as the attacker.
Oh, nice with the fire. Getting rid of Medivacs is huge. ByuN is he's been kind of skimping on his starport production when he was low on cash. But now he's starting to collapse in. Oh, there's that disruptor shot that Stats really wanted. ByuN is trying to avoid by sniping.
Stats still ultimately, though, down in supply a fairly significant amount. Yeah. Lost quite a few disruptors there. So, I don't know. Stats is still really tugging hard to win this tug of war, but it's not going so well for him.
I don't think he should have done that without force fields. Like, one disruptor is going to be either dodged or sniped. Oh, he's being very dangerous here. He's also, there we go, finally getting more adepts, or more disruptors, but adepts surprisingly stopped mining at the fourth. Those are 2 that were just run off to the corner of the map, and you remember they were there.
And that's huge, actually, at this stage of the game. Both players are getting so low on cash. I mean, we look at the map, it's 4 bases, and you consider, like, oh, income must be no problem. But it's kind of a huge issue. Both players have almost no economy. Replacing these units is becoming tougher and tougher. And if Stats is taking worse fights but more cost-effective trades, then that's going to favor him moving forward. But ByuN finally gets back to mining. He drops the Mule Hammer on this base. Income going to skyrocket, and we'll finally see his production pick up again. And that's where I start worrying about Stats. Those mules are going to kill Stats, I think, more than the army will.
Oh, Disruptor's got out of position, trying to be clever. Vikings could land and help out, but two swords in the back. And a pair up together, which but they got a decent shot.
Now they're on cooldown again, and that's the issue. If there was Immortals in this mix, I would actually really like Stats' army more, but he's fighting very well. He's got +3 armor on his side. There's a lot of things he's doing right, but it's still not enough. And ByuN, of course, no longer out of energy with Medivacs, is healing his units. Probe's getting pulled, and this is getting desperate. This might just be the actual end. But Stats actually should be able to clean this up. If that Disruptor...
the is pretty perfect, and he probably could have saved the rest of his Stalkers if he blinked all the way back, but a Liberator comes in and reinforcements come in too. Those Disruptors didn't do anything.
They were off cooldown too. I checked them as they were dying. They were able to get shots off.
Bad. Okay, that is probably game now then. Damn.
But again,
he had no pylons reinforced here either. That's pretty bad.
Even in his death thralls, though, Stats is playing so good. Look at it, like ByuN still can't quite kill him is the thing.
Damn, I wonder if he had gone for a couple extra Immortals as opposed to any of those extra Disruptors, that actually would have been better. That's for now. Really sucks. He made, like, I want to say 7 Disruptors in this game, but he lost 3 so quickly to ByuN sniping. That really saved ByuN, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Positions.
I'm with you on that. The Liberator, good to take so long to focus down with so few Stalkers. And I didn't realize this. First off, GG ByuN. But I didn't realize Stats was only on +1 weapons for so long too. So that's why a lot of his Stalkers were hitting like wet noodles towards the end there.
For sure. I was surprised he went so hard onto the armor. He never got charge lots. Those were just for the Adepts.
That was such a cool series though for a lot of different reasons. And again, I really just want to say very plainly, I was so impressed with Stats. And I don't care if he hears this. I'm not trying to suck up to him. But I was really impressed with him showing his macro play working because, again, it's been months of just you can't macro versus Terran. If you do, you're insane. You're taking crazy pills. You're going to lose that game. So I love that we saw 4 games without a Colossus. The game with Colossus ended up going a little bit wonky, but overall, I was really impressed with Stats play. Obviously, GG's going to be on. He won the tournament. He won the series today, but it was I want to see more Stats. I really want to see more Stats.
He played very well. I'm glad he made it to the finals.
Me too. I hope he plays in a couple more of these weeklies so that he gets to the monthly finals because it'd be great to see him reprise bigger best ofs over there. But that is gonna cover everything for the day. That's it for the cast, guys. I hope you enjoyed the show. The finals were great. I gotta say though, my favorite series today Innovation versus ByuN. Stats in ByuN was very good. Very close second. But I really liked Innovation in ByuN. I think that was my favorite set of the day.
A lot of good series.
Yeah, we get a lot of good series of the BTSL in general, which is always good for you guys, the fans. For us as the casters, it's always a lot of fun. But like we said, tomorrow, be sure to come back for the Ting North American qualifiers. I think we'll get some good games. It'll be double elimination. For those who haven't been following with the groups and all that, the European groups are set. The Korean groups are set. The dates have been announced. But we still have 2 wildcard qualifiers and 1 North American qualifier. So we get into the thick of it soon. Also, and more importantly, we're getting, like, we had those 3 days off. Samgrab mentioned that earlier. We're really getting back on that casting grind now, though, because we're going to be casting pretty much every day for the next little while. Got a lot of Ting stuff to cover. Got a lot of unannounced map contest stuff we'll be covering. In fact, every day until February 23rd, we should be live with something, unless something goes terribly wrong. So, again, tomorrow's going to be the Ting NA qualifiers. Sunday's going to be the Ting wildcard qualifiers. Corsair Cup, the unannounced tournament with Jake. I'm wait. The name for this tournament is so fucking stupid. I can't wait for you guys to hear it. I told him, though, like, people who don't know what the streets in Korea are called aren't going to get the joke. But anyways, then the Alima League, Ting EU Group 1, Ting Korea Group 1. All of this is up on our rough draft schedule, which is pinned to the top of the BaseTradeTV Twitter. I know our website's not up, guys. I don't know what to tell you about it. I really got to bug Riamar and see what's going on with that. We'll try and get a calendar, like a professional-looking calendar going soon at some point. Even if I got to pay somebody up the wazoo to do it. But stats, oh, he whispers me, says turn OP with, like, cry eyes.
Yeah. He's so cute. Poor stats. Needs someone to console him and agree with him.
All right. Well, I told stats I want to see more stats with hearts, so hopefully that'll cheer him up. But anyways, as you guys know the drill, check out all of our sponsors, which is just pretty much just Corsair. We got our partner affiliations with Yord and the Slippers and all these other things. But most importantly, this tournament today was brought to you thanks to Twitch. So if you really want to show your appreciation, the best way to give our sponsors love and BaseTradeTV some love is consider subscribing to the stream. At the time of the stream ending, I'll be sending out replay packs from today as well. So if you really want to get your hands on first-hand ByuN and stats action, that's how you do it. Other than that, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube for any content you miss. It's always uploaded over there, youtube.com/BaseTradeTV. Thank you to Joey. I don't know if Nice username is still tuning in. He does our YouTube editor, does a lot of great work. Dares was our admin today. Give him the credit where it's due as well. And of course, last but not least, my partner in crime over here, Zombie Grub. Thank you for joining me today. Do you have any final words before we take off?
Follow me on Twitter at CG Gaming and on YouTube and Twitch, Zombie Grub.
By the way, Stats says thanks, ha ha ha, ByuN strong, and again, sad face. Poor guy, give Stats some love, guys. If you see him doing anything, be sure to cheer for him. But that's gonna be us ending the commercial or the stream with a couple of commercials. So stick around if you want to watch them and help us earn a couple of extra cents. And if not, have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you tomorrow evening. Goodbye.